So for this video, we're going to be taking a look at one of my invasion from below mocks. As you can see up there, just barely, we have some of the invasion from below sets, plus we have Azure over there all the way in the corner from my 2008 mock series, I guess. I don't know what else to call it. And let me go ahead and turn that camera back down. Also, as you can see, there's stuff going on in the background here, including a bootleg set that I'm going to be reviewing in a future video, hopefully upcoming here soon, now that I've got some space over on this side. Still a small table, but it should be enough at least for that. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into it. And of course, if you like this type of content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and it tells YouTube you want to see more content like this. Today, we're looking at Surge's Climber Machine. And roughly, this is about the same size as one of the other, let's say, canister sets, for lack of a better term. I know they came in bags in 2014, but suffice to say, around the $20 mark is what I was aiming for this set. Although in today's market, probably a bit more than that. It's pretty cool. So clearly it is holding Surge on the inside here. And honestly, I would love to use a trans yellow windscreen here, but unfortunately that piece just does not exist. Same is true for this as well. I can make trans yellow from trans neon green pieces, but this also doesn't exist in trans neon green, so whatever. But at the very least, these do exist. These come on the Waspik set, which is one of the reasons why I recommend that set so heavily. I've actually got him sitting over here, and it is a lovely piece. The largest size of panel and available in that trans yellow is a blessing, let's just say. That said, though, I'm really happy with the design of the vehicle itself. You can open up the cockpit to actually get access to the character here. And on top of that, it has a little bit of a roll cage that can lift as well. And the roll cage is connected to a couple of stud shooters, which you can take out and utilize on the character itself. Something I would like to do as well is actually add a weapon of some kind to the front here for the character to use when out of the vehicle. And I want it to be like a lightning weapon because it's Surge, right? But I haven't decided exactly which one I want to use yet. So it's not here, but you can just imagine. With that out of the way, you can also take a look at the fact that we're using these little pick pieces. I don't know specifically what that came off of in this flat silver color, but I really like to see those as being able to be used in the hands here. And it can. You can actually remove those and place those in the hands of the actual vehicle itself. So not only does it have to rely on these claws, which are the bionicle variant of claw, sure, but you also have the ability to actually give it weapons, melee weapons in hand as well. I think that's honestly pretty fantastic. So if we actually turn the machine all the way around, you see that there's a propeller on the back. That's not to insinuate that this thing can necessarily fly, but that it kind of offsets the weight. The idea that I had is that that propeller spins up to give it a little bit of lift, to generate a little lift, not so much as to lift the vehicle completely off the ground, but just to reduce its weight overall so that when it is climbing up, buildings or whatever in the cityscape, it reduces the burden on the vehicle itself for that climbing. I thought that was a really cool idea. And obviously you could see it as like a defense mechanism as well, being able to like blow away little jumpers and things before they can get on the vehicle and do any sort of real damage, right? On top of that, we also have these shoulder mounted little spinner blades too, doing sort of the same thing, but they just look aesthetically pleasing. And I actually picked that one up from somebody else who also made a Surge machine. I don't know who, because I saw it like several years ago, but I remembered seeing these shoulder mounted, blade propeller things. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm using a propeller on mine already. So I opted to go ahead and throw it on here. This has been built for a little while as well. So you've maybe seen it in some of the videos. I'm not sure if it's popped up in the background of any. But lastly, it also has the actual canister up here on top, which can actually be removed and replaced with one of the beast pointed feet. A piece that LEGO still makes to this day, and I actually use it in blue, so it actually covers up parts of the little turbine thing back here, if that's unsightly. So I really like the aesthetic of this overall, and I think it's just a great little assembly that feels appropriate, but feels different enough from the other machines that we got from the Invasion from Below series. So I really, really like it. But it's a fairly straightforward build. It does have some interesting things going on, most notably with the attachment for the roll cage, and of course the attachment for the weapons up there as well. But yeah, overall, it's just a fantastic build in my opinion, and I'm really happy with how it works. The shoulder turbines are also on ball joints back here, so they can be moved around quite freely. And there's actually another foot piece on the back here, which has a ball joint that holds this in place. So it can be turned because it is just on a friction pin here. But you can actually move the entire assembly as well because it is on that ball joint. It's not geared or anything, so it just spins up manually, but it still works out just fine for this type of piece. And it is a loose connection as well, so a frictionless connection. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good set overall. I'm really happy with the design of it, and I'm happy with how it came together. And also just glad that, you know, Serge got his own machine. Something I would like to do, especially now with the 3D printer. And since I have modeled helmets for Stringer and I've modeled helmets for Nex, is I would like to actually produce those helmets 3D printed. Obviously, that's going to take a little bit more time because I do need to fix up those models to make them printable. But hopefully that's something I get to do here in the future. Now, with that said, we did not get the arms or the legs for these bodies in the appropriate colors either, which kind of baffles me, to be honest. It's like my one main gripe with Invasion from Below is the fact that we did not get all of the hero figures. I mentioned that in the previous video. So seeing some representation of characters like Stringer, of characters like Nex, would have been really cool. So hopefully that's something I get to do here in the future. And of course, if I am able to make those and print those out, then I will make those files available for you guys as well, and even potentially the parts. So with all that said, I wanted to go ahead and focus back on the channel here for a moment. And I want to put out another video, hopefully later today, talking about the star fruit. So another fruit video. I wish you could smell this, by the way. It just smells absolutely lovely. That's going to be in its own video, hopefully later on today. So hopefully that comes out later today as well. Daylight savings kind of threw me off. And on top of that, I wanted to talk briefly about the fruit videos themselves because I'm actually pretty happy with where they're at so far. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying them, and maybe with the next video, I'll probably try at least to do it over here on this table just to see if it'll work. Granted, this table, one of the reasons I don't feature it in too many videos, especially where I have to like use it pretty heavily, is it's actually broken. So when I got this table, it defaults at a forward angle, kind of like a drafting table, which is perfectly fine. It has a little lip on it like a drafting table would have as well, or some anyway. But the problem I have is that it is adjustable, but it's only adjustable forward and not to a flat plane, which is really weird. And so I went in there and modified that, but in so doing it broke something else involved, not a big deal. And I had to like literally shove a metal rod in there, a metal pin in there to keep it flat. So it works, but it doesn't like really being jostled around too much because then the table can fall forward again, and that can be a huge problem. So, you know, just worried about that kind of stuff. So when I do videos like this, where I might have to cut into a fruit, and I'm using a knife or something, not ideal to have the table collapse out from under me, you know? So we'll see how that one ends up going. But I think overall, it's cutting a fruit. It's not going to be anything too exciting. The taste test is what it's really about. On top of that, as I mentioned, I'm really happy with where those videos are sitting right now, because I look back at November when the channel started to take off midway through, and I was averaging on this channel that's over 4 years old now, I was averaging like 100 views per video that I would put out. The occasional video would get more views. One of my videos has like 10,000 or whatever from a couple of years ago, but that's been over time, right? But the fruit videos are kind of a new thing for the channel overall. I did like a lemon taste test way back when, and that was fun for me, but you know, it's not going to be the stuff that a lot of people are coming here for, and fair enough. That said, of course, I enjoy it. I enjoy creating this content. Of course, I love fruit. I love plants in general. And so making that type of content is something that really speaks to me. And I'm glad to see the views sort of picking up on those videos here as well. 70 views is not like a million views by any means, but I'm also not naive enough to think that it's nothing, you know, because again, as I mentioned, back in November, I was averaging like 100 views per video. So 70 views for a video that's a day old about Tamarind or 2 days old or whatever is not awful by any means. And it's heading in the right direction for this type of content. Whether or not that was true, it's content that I want to continue creating because I do like it. But I also understand that like I can't go out and buy fruit every week to do videos on because that's obviously a financial burden, of course. But I can do it whenever I have the ability, whenever I'm capable, and also have the time, the free time to not only get out there and try something new and bring something to you that I think will be entertaining, but also at the same time get out there and get something I'm unfamiliar with, you're unfamiliar with, or at least I would hope, and just kind of provide content based around it. I don't know. It's hard to phrase what's going on in my mind right now. So yeah, all I can say is thank you so much for tuning into videos, not just like these, but those videos as well. And I do hope that you guys enjoy them. I know I've gotten a few comments on there that have been quite lovely as well. And of course, as always, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe as mentioned. It really helps out the channel. And of course, as always, you can join the conversation down in the comments below. If you want to see any other vehicle, mech, invasion from below, beast builds, whatever the case, let me know that one in the comments, or we can take that conversation further over on Discord, Instagram, or Patreon if you want to support the channel and get some perks. All of that will be linked in the description. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.